We all know that feeling, trying to find that sweet spot, right? Whether it's, not overdoing it with sugar or finding a work-life balance that doesn't tip too far either way.
Yeah, it feels pretty fundamental, doesn't it? This search for a path that isn't, well, extreme.
Exactly.
And that inherent desire for some kind of equilibrium is precisely what we're exploring today.
Okay.
We've got this excerpt, often called the setting in motion the wheel of the Dhamma.
Right, the first teaching.
Pretty much. Think of it as the original dispatch from a really significant teaching given by the Blessed One in the deer park at Isipatana near Varanasi.
To those first 5 disciples, the bhikkhus.
That's them. And this isn't just ancient history. It's seen as a cornerstone, really, for understanding a path aimed at awakening.
So if this is kind of ground zero for so many people seeking deeper understanding, what are we hoping to get out of this deep dive? What's the mission, for you listening?
Well, our aim is basically to unpack the core insights from this ancient wisdom.
Make it clear and relevant.
Exactly. In a way that's clear and hopefully immediately relevant to you, no matter your background. We want to shed light on how this teaching provides a powerful framework.
Like an inner compass.
Kind of, yeah. For navigating life's complexities and maybe fostering your own growth and understanding. It's really about exploring a path that seems designed for awakening potential that's, well, within everyone. Accessible.
Okay, so this foundational teaching, it starts by telling us what not to do. It mentions these 2 extremes. What are they and why are they flagged as such big no-nos?
That's right, yeah. The Blessed One begins by steering clear of 2, let's say, common approaches. The first is the pursuit of sensual happiness in sensual pleasures.
Okay.
And it's described in pretty stark terms. Low, vulgar, the way of worldlings, ignoble, unbeneficial.
So the endless chase after feeling good, that perfect meal, the next thrill.
That's the idea, the constant craving for the next pleasurable hit. And the insight here, the key thing, is that while those might feel good for a bit, right, this relentless pursuit ultimately doesn't lead anywhere lasting. No real benefit or true understanding comes from it.
And the second extreme.
That's the pursuit of self-mortification, which is labeled painful, ignoble, unbeneficial.
So deliberately making yourself suffer, thinking it leads somewhere.
Exactly. Like extreme ascetic practices, causing oneself pain thinking it's a spiritual shortcut.
Like those really punishing routines people sometimes get into.
Sort of, yeah. Anything involving deliberate deprivation or inflicting discomfort for its own sake. The teaching points out basically that causing yourself pain isn't helpful. It's not a productive path to wisdom.
Unbeneficial, again.
Right. It's fascinating how it immediately sets up these boundaries, identifying 2 paths that, though they look different, both lead away from real benefit.
So if those are the ditches on either side of the road, what's the actual path? That's where this middle way comes in, isn't it?
Precisely, yeah. The text explains that the Tathagata, that's a term for someone awakened, like the Buddha, discovered this middle way by avoiding those extremes. And it's not just about avoidance. It's about what this balanced approach does. It gives rise to vision, which gives rise to knowledge, which leads to peace, to direct knowledge, to enlightenment, to nibbana.
Wow, that's quite a chain reaction.
It is a cascade of positive development.
But middle way can still feel a bit abstract. How does it become something we can actually, walk?
Good question. The text immediately grounds it.
Yeah.
So the middle way is the Noble Eightfold Path.
Ah, okay. So that's the practical roadmap.
That's it, the actual steps you can take on this balanced path.
And for anyone new to this, what are those 8 steps again?
Sure, they are. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration.
So it covers thinking, acting, our inner state. Pretty comprehensive.
Very. It touches on, well, almost everything about how we navigate the world and our own minds.
Okay, so the middle way is this 8-step path, but the teaching also lays out this deeper understanding of, us, our human experience, the 4 noble truths. How do they connect?
Ah, right. The 4 noble truths provide the fundamental diagnosis, you could say, the underlying reality that makes the middle way so relevant and effective.
They identify the problem and offer the solution.
Basically, yes. Exactly that.
So let's start with the first one. The noble truth of suffering, dukkha. It lists things we all recognize: birth, aging, death.
Illness, being with what we dislike, separated from what we like, not getting what we want, things we all face.
Right. And then it summarizes it with the 5 aggregates subject to clinging are suffering. What are these aggregates and why is clinging the issue?
Okay, so the 5 aggregates are basically the building blocks of our moment-to-moment experience.
Right.
Like our physical form, our body, and feelings pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, perceptions, how we label or interpret things, mental formations, our thoughts, intentions, biases, and consciousness, just basic awareness.
Okay. The components of experience.
Pretty much. And the crucial point is, these are all constantly changing, right? Impermanent. But we tend to grasp onto them, cling to them, as if they're solid, permanent, truly me or mine.
And that gap causes the problem.
Exactly. The gap between our clinging and the reality that everything changes, that's a huge source of dukkha, dissatisfaction, like trying to hold water in your fist.
Yeah, the tighter you grip. Okay, that makes sense. So what about the second truth? The origin of all this suffering and clinging.
The text points straight at craving. Pancha. Yeah. It's not just simple desire like wanting a cup of tea. It's this deep-seated thirst, a relentless wanting that keeps the whole cycle of dissatisfaction spinning.
And there are different types.
It mentions 3 main ones. Craving for sensual pleasures, the obvious one. Craving for existence, wanting to continue, to become something. And, maybe surprisingly, craving for non-existence or extermination.
Craving for non-existence, that sounds odd.
It does, doesn't it? But think about when suffering is really intense. That desire to just stop, to be annihilated can arise. But it's still seen as a form of this deep thirst, this craving.
And all these types of craving, they lead to renewed existence.
That's the connection the text makes.
Yeah.
It fuels the conditions that lead to future experiences, future suffering.
Yeah.
It's like constantly throwing fuel on a fire.
So it's not the experiences themselves, but our craving around them, our attachment.
That's the core insight, which leads us perfectly to the third noble truth.
The cessation of suffering, the end of it.
Exactly. The possibility of the complete ending of that craving, that time.
How's it described?
As the remainderless fading away and cessation of that same craving. And it involves the giving up and relinquishing of it, freedom from it, non-reliance on it.
Freedom, like finally quenching that unbearable thirst you mentioned.
That's a good way to put it, a profound sense of relief and liberation.
Okay. And the fourth noble truth then must be the how, the way to get there.
You got it. The noble truth of the way, leading to the cessation of suffering. And, as we said just a minute ago,
It's the Noble Eightfold Path again.
it is the Noble Eightfold Path. So the path is the practical medicine prescribed for the illness diagnosed by the first 2 truths, leading to the cure outlined in the third.
It all fits together. Now, the text then describes this incredible moment of realization for the Blessed One. It talks about vision, knowledge, wisdom, true knowledge, and light arising.
Regarding things unheard before.
And this is repeated for each of the 4 truths in 3 distinct phases. Why the repetition? What's that signify?
It really underscores the depth and thoroughness of the awakening. This wasn't just a quick flash of insight or an intellectual agreement.
More than just getting it.
Much more. It was a deep experiential breakthrough. These 3 phases for each truth. First, recognizing what the truth is like, this is suffering.
Understanding its nature.
Right. Then, understanding the task associated with it, that suffering is to be fully understood, craving is to be abandoned, cessation is to be realized, the path is to be developed.
Okay, the to-do.
Exactly. And finally, the confirmation that the task has been completed. Suffering has been fully understood, craving has been abandoned, and so on.
Across all 4 truths.
Across in all 3 phases, that's 12 aspects in total. It highlights this complete, unshakable realization, a fundamental shift.
So a total internal transformation, not just understanding the ideas.
Absolutely. And the text says it was the complete purification of this knowledge and vision across those 12 aspects that led him to declare unsurpassed perfect enlightenment.
And that powerful insight arose then.
Yes. Unshakable is the liberation of my mind. This is my last birth. Now there's no more renewed existence. It speaks to the finality, the completeness of it.
Incredible. And the impact on those first 5 bhikkhus, the text describes their reaction.
Yes, their elation and delight. It shows the immediate power of the teaching. And crucially, as the Blessed One was speaking, one of them, the Venerable Kondanya,
Kondanya, right.
he experienced what's called the dust-free, stainless vision of the Dhamma.
What did he see?
He grasped a core principle right there.
Yeah.
Whatever is subject to origination is all subject to cessation.
Impermanence. Everything that arises passes away.
Exactly. A foundational insight. It seems simple, but seeing it directly is profound.
That feels like a really key takeaway. Applies to everything.
It really does. And then the text describes this almost cosmic event, the setting in motion the wheel of the Dhamma.
With ripple effects.
Big time. Cries of joy and understanding are said to have rippled up through different realms of beings, starting with earth-dwelling divas all the way up to the highest Brahma world. It paints this picture of universal significance.
A real turning point. The text mentions the world system shaking, this immeasurable, glorious radiance. It's very vivid.
It really emphasizes that this wasn't just a small private teaching. It had the potential to resonate, well, everywhere, for everyone.
And the Blessed One acknowledged Kondanya's understanding.
He did, with that inspired utterance. Kondanya has indeed understood. Kutanya has indeed understood. And that's how Kondanya got the name, Anya Kupenya, Kutanya, who has understood. The very first person, besides the Buddha himself, to fully grasp the teaching.
Wow. So, as you, the listener, take all this in from this deep dive, what are the key things to maybe carry forward into your own life?
Oh, I think the core message, which really feels accessible to anyone, is this idea of a balanced path, a middle way.
Avoiding those extremes.
Right. Avoiding the frantic chase after fleeting pleasure and the trap of self-inflicted hardship. And knowing there's a practical guide, the Noble Eightfold Path for living more ethically, mindfully, with more focus.
And the four truths underpinning it all.
Exactly. That framework. Understanding dissatisfaction, seeing its root in craving, knowing there's an end to it, and having the path to get there. It's a way to understand your own experience and cultivate a deeper sense of peace and maybe even awakening.
And how can this ancient wisdom really speak to us now, navigating life today?
I think the principles are timeless, really. Finding that middle ground applies everywhere, doesn't it? Work, relationships, how we handle our emotions, our consumption.
Sure.
And just recognizing how much of our own frustration comes from clinging to things that are constantly changing. That alone can help loosen the grip, find a bit more ease in the present.
So it offers practical tools for inner wisdom.
Definitely. The Eightfold Path, while ancient, gives timeless guidance for living with integrity, awareness, concentration qualities that are always valuable. This teaching, really, it's about understanding our shared human condition and finding a path toward clarity and well-being that's open to all.
So as you consider this deep dive, here's a thought maybe to take with you. Considering these teachings, what extremes might you notice yourself navigating in your own life? And how might this principle of a middle way offer a fresh perspective? Maybe reflect on the underlying cravings that could be driving some of your experiences and ask if understanding them might open up a path toward, well, greater clarity and a more balanced way of being.